Nick Cummings on your left, Andrew Jessup on your right. Both these players 4-1 as they get ready here for game number 1 of round number 6. I think discard very important here for Jessup in this matchup. Inquisitions and the like.
Yep, he's got the 4 Inquisitions, 1 Thoughtseize. And I'm sure he's hoping to draw all of them.
Steam Vents is where he'll start. The follow-up there is a Scalding Tarn. We're going to head back Nick Cummings' way. Nick just started off with a Bloodstained Mire. There's a Blackleaf Cliffs, and he will sacrifice the Bloodstained Mire. Going to fall down to 19.
Let's see if he starts churning through his deck here with some of his card-drawing spells.
Yeah, again, Knight's Whisper, Faithless Looting. You also find Tormenting Voice, so you do want to discard a large threat like Gristlebrand or Worldspine Worm for a little Goryo's Vengeance action. So can't Goryo's Vengeance back Worldspine Worm, of course. That's more in the deck to go with Nourishing Shoal. Be able to gain a lot of life. Just don't know how people find these things.
What's the biggest green thing that we can gain life with?
Yeah. Here's Tormenting Voice. Discard Gristlebrand.
All right.
The jig is up. Now, part of the casting of Tormenting Voice, you have to discard a card. So that does happen, and now it will resolve. So Cummings will draw 2 cards, and we're going to head back over Jessup's way. And now he knows what he's up against.
Yeah, now he'll be able to start crafting what he wants to do to battle this.
Lightning Bolt's going to go upstairs.
Sure. I mean, he has the mana to do it right now, and he knows he's not going to have a target for it later in the game.
It's time to change plans.
Well, it's possible he has a Snapcaster Mage in his hand, and he's just going to have to get something on the board to start doing something.
Watery Grave here. That'll be the land found with the Scalding Tarn. We're going to go back Jessup's way. It's his 3rd turn of the game. He'll take a draw step. Jace Vryn's Prodigy is what he's found. He'll start by playing a Scalding Tarn. Going to sacrifice that. Down to 18 goes Jessup. We'll see what land he wants to search up and what his 3rd turn will bring. You mentioned discard being pretty important in the matchup.
Not a lot going on right now.
Basic Mountain, the weapon of choice.
An Ice Age one, I believe.
Indeed. Do you approve?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta love the classics.
No, you don't.
Okay, you don't have to love the classics.
I hate the classic lands. I think Ice Age lands are ugly. So there you go.
Everyone, I guess, is allowed to have an opinion.
Here's a Goryo's Vengeance on a Gristlebrand. Now, this game might be ending right now. Nick's at 16. Now he's at 23. And we're going to see some Gristlebrand activations here in just a second.
Yeah, Jessup gets to watch him do lots of things.
So the first activation is going to bring him back down to 16. 7 cards on the way. Again, the trick here is you're looking for the combination of Nourishing Shoal and Worldspine Worm. You're able to find that. You're able to gain more life. Keep going here with Gristlebrand.
Draw the whole deck. Use some Simian Spear guys. And, yeah. Through the Breach or Goryo's Vengeance, Borborygmos.
And then that's game.
Discard all those lands that you just drew.
Here's 7 more cards. Cummings is going to fall down to 9. So he's looking at least 14 cards, but a little more than that, of course, because he already had some cards in his hand. Has a copy of Faithless Looting in hand. There's a Worldspine Worm over there, too. I don't know if he's found a Nourishing Shoal yet. He is able to activate Gristlebrand again if he'd like and fall down to 2. But with the way he's organizing his hand, there's at least 1 Simian Spirit Guide over there, a Desperate Ritual. He has not played a land yet this turn. Keep that in mind as well. And now he's just trying to figure out if he can win this turn. There's a land for the turn, which is a Swamp. Okay, he has Nourishing Shoal plus Worldspine Worm. So there's a boatload of life on the way. And the rarely used Splice on the Arcane via Desperate Ritual.
You don't see this very often.
Mostly in that limited format. That's about it. So now there's 3 red mana floating in addition to all of the life Cummings going to gain, all 11 of it. So he's back to 20. Splice on the Arcane is it's a hoot. It's really something.
Well, it never really caught on.
Oh, is that what you'd say?
So when it does happen, it makes it so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. So there is 3 red mana floating.
I suppose I understated that a little bit.
Splice on Arcane again, perhaps.
It was one of the bigger failures of...
Just not that popular of a mechanic. Now, here's Through the Breach. Borborgmos Enraged is here. Some lands will appear in just a moment. And if Goryo's Vengeance plus Gristlebrand is your thing, along with throwing lands at your opponent, there are 4 of them, and this deck is for you, as Nick Cummings is going to win game number 1 here over Andrew Jessup. Goryo's Vengeance up a game over Grixis Control.
Got to do everything.
See, this is the kind of deck that scares people in this format, where they think maybe you're supposed to ban Goryo's Vengeance because what we just watched was obscenely powerful.
It was, but his opponent did almost nothing the first 3 turns of the game.
That's true.
You know, there was no interaction, there was no discard, there was no counter spells, and lots of decks will just beat you every time if you don't do anything.
That's true. A lightning bolt attacked Sigurd and then he died.
Yeah.
And yeah, to be fair, you know, if that's your start in Modern, a lot of decks can just beat that.
Yeah.
So that's reasonable. We take a look here at the sideboards for both players. We will start with Andrew Jessup. He's got 2 Dispels, a Counter Squall, a Dreadbore, 3 Molten Rains, a Crumble to Dust, an Instant Staticaster, Radiant Flames, 2 Vandal Blast, 1 Grave Titan, 1 Jerby Merc Lurker, and an Engineered Explosives.
All right, some Dispels.
Counter Squall, not a bad option either.
Not a bad option, no.
I assume the goal here is to just never let Goryo's Vengeance or anything else resolve.
Yeah, he wants to sneak a threat on, a cheap Tasigur with a Dispel backup, with a Counter Squall backup, with a Mana Leak backup. That's what he's looking for.
Other side of things here for Cummings, you got 3 Anger of the Gods, 2 Slaughter Pact, 2 Terminate, 2 Pact Negation, 2 Beseiju, who shelters all. A Dark Blast, a Night of Soul's Betrayal. Oh boy, I'm going to put you to the test right now.
Oh no.
Yes. Kuru Pit Lord, what does that do?
Was he a 7/6 or a 7/7?
You tell me.
Well, if I knew, I would just tell you.
Well, this is how you get paid. You have to know the obscure cards.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
No Waffle House. Is that back off the table?
That I might remove that off the table.
Oh man.
Now I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. Do you know Quicksilver Amulet?
It's a 4-cost artifact.
Correct.
That puts a creature into play for 4.
Waffle House is back on.
All right.
Now, for what it's worth, it's unfair for you to know Kuru Pit Lord. I believe that Boseiju is going to come in.
Oh yeah.
Okay, potentially Pact Negation.
I would think the 2 Bosejus, the 2 packs, and he's just going to try to combo out with his own counterspell backup.
Yes. Now, the Kuru Pit Lord, however, take a little look-ski poo. It's a 9/9. 7/6, disrespectful. 9 mana, 9/9. At the beginning of your upkeep, a small cost to pay.
Sure.
A 4 black. Pay a life, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Not sure what matchup this is for, but I can appreciate using this type of card. Demon Spirit, Kamigawa block. Legendary for Goryo's Vengeance.
Sure.
I have no idea what it's for. That said, I hope it comes in now.
Okay.
Just for this game. I kind of want to see it in action. So that'll give you an idea what both players are working with. Andrew Jessup going to be on the play here for game number 2. And as I do get ready, we're going to talk about our fall creature collection here with Star City Games, where you will find some of our game night favorites. We got playmats, we got sleeves, we got player bundles of the otter, the hippo, the reindeer, and
the Penguillian Click.
Your check will be cashed. StarCityGames.com/creature collection for information about that. The winter collection for 2016 will be coming out around the corner pretty soon here, but for now we got our fall creature collection, including the Penguillian Click.
I got to get me one of those caribou.
For your caribou range?
Yeah.
Powerful card from Homelands. Very powerful. I'm thinking once we get past this Shadows of Innistrad stuff, where the vampires and werewolves are apparently fighting against Emrakul, we work our way into maybe a caribou-themed set.
Sure.
That's just, if I was an R&D and I was designing things and where I would take the direction of Magic.
Just gentle wildlife.
Yes, that's it. You know, we watched Blood Diamond yesterday in the hotel room.
Yes.
Do you think we could turn Blood Diamond the movie into like a set of Magic? There are just rebels. That would be, and rebels used to be a creature.
Sure.
I'm not sure Leonardo DiCaprio could be the legendary creature.
He could.
And then the Blood Diamond could be a very powerful artifact.
I'm sold.
See? Hopefully there's no copyright issues
Sure.
there with the movie Blood Diamond.
I'm sure if we got in touch with them and told them what we were using it for, they'd be on board.
Do you think they'd be okay?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Perfect. I think you can really do that with a lot of movies, turn into magic right there. R&D, you can just have that one.
That one's on us.
You can just take that and you can use that.
Just remember, down the road, if we need a favor, what we've done for you.
That's correct. That's all we ask. Have to think of a name for this set. I'm thinking Diamond Blood. How's that sound?
I don't think that's great, but we'll keep working on it.
Game number 2 going to be underway here just a moment. You can see in the feature match area Jerry Thompson over there, Brian Brondu, and a couple other players as well.
Blood Diamond. It's like a 0-mana artifact that taps for a red.
It's going to have an additional line of text probably.
Okay.
Probably. We'll think about it. We'll have to work on it.
Okay.
This is post-show, the Blood Diamond theme set. I'm sure some people on Twitter will have some good ideas.
Sure.
It's got to be legendary too.
Okay.
That's a big deal. Because people on Twitter are great at stuff like this.
I'm sure.
They're fantastic. Oh, hold on. They've got some ideas on why Kuro Pit Lord is in the deck. Combos with Necrotic Ooze for the Infect Elves and cheap creatures matchups.
Okay.
The question here is, would Leonardo DiCaprio have protection from Oscars? That's not his fault. I think the Oscar committee is out to get him. Also, that would imply that Oscar is a creature type of some sort in our theoretical Magic set, which I don't think would be true.
I like this.
You like where this is going?
Yes.
A polluted delta is where Jessup will start. We'll see what Cummings brings to the table. All players kept 7 cards.
Oscars as a creature type. It'd be just a fairly useless creature. Wouldn't do a lot, but everyone else would be jealous of them all the time.
So they would have maybe like the flag bearer ability or something where you have to target them?
Maybe.
Yeah, just because they draw a lot of attention even though they don't matter?
Sure.
Perfect.
Have to be blocked.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Or it's like some sort of it's got to be like an enchantment or an artifact that has to be killed before you can kill something else. This set is designing itself. Here's a Thought Scour. Thoughtseize, Dispel down. And even though those cards are going to the graveyard, Jessup is playing a Snapcaster Mage deck, so that's not the end of the world. And actually might be happy turning those over, and Dispel was the draw step.
Sure.
Let's see what comes next here for Andrew. There's the Serum Visions.
All right, lots of deck manipulation here early.
A little Scry action, Bloodstained Mire, and it looks like a Watery Grave on top of the deck. See, now we're really working on something. See, Oscars could be an equipment, and Leo can't be equipped by them.
You know, the groupthink is so good.
I told you.
Yeah.
Twitter's good at this.
Yeah.
That's great. This set sounds really good. Here's an Inquisition.
So it looks like Andrew has that start that we said he would want. Lots of sculpting of his hand. He's got a discard spell. He's got a counter spell in his hand. And we'll see if he can get a threat on the board.
The Inquisition's going to reveal a hand of Simian Spirit Guide, Knight's Whisper, Wargremost Enraged, Boseiju Shelters All, a Bloodstained Mire, Blackleaf Cliffs, and a Swamp. I think the easy selection here is the Knight's Whisper.
Oh, yeah.
And once you take that, even though you're not thrilled to see Boseiju on the other side of the table, the hand there's nothing going on over there for Nick.
That's a hand that might be doing nothing for a long time.
Yeah. Now, Faithless Looting will change some things. That's a good draw. So Cummings will draw 2 cards. We'll have to discard 2 cards. I think we're going to see Wargremost go to the graveyard, but that's his call, not mine. He might have some plans to leave that thing in his hand.
Well, if he's afraid of graveyard hate at all, it might be safer to leave it in his hand until later in the game.
Mm-hmm. Cummings quite unsure what he wants to discard just yet, but this does kind of sculpt where the game is going to go. I don't think he can let a card like Boseiju go at this stage. He might be able to let one of his lands go. He's going to discard a Swamp and a copy of Gristlebrand. There's Boseiju.
That Gristlebrand was a good draw step.
Yeah. Another thing, too, Boseiju in this particular matchup, especially with how this game's going, and against Grixis control in general, it's kind of free. You got a lot of life to work with.
Sure.
Bloodstained Mire here from Jessup. He's going to sacrifice that. Steam Vent's the weapon of choice.
And both these players can use their life totals as a resource right now. They don't need to worry about, being nickeled and dimed out of the game.
There's Snapcaster Mage. Inquisition is the card, Thoughtseize is the card that's going to be recast. Simian Spirit Guide for Borgmos. Couple of lands here in Bloodstained Mire, Swamp, and Blackleaf Cliffs. As Jessup decides what he wants to take here, Colin me in on Twitter. See how you feel about this. Blood Diamond, 3 colorless mana. Tap, sacrifice a creature, add 3 mana of any color. Target opponent gains control of Blood Diamond.
I actually like the flavor of that.
I think it's really good.
Yeah.
I think it has to be a legendary artifact.
Sure.
I think that's the only thing we have to fix up here. But
oh yeah, you can't have multiple of these in play.
I think this is really good. Oh boy, they are firing in. We'll have to take a look at these in just a moment.
And we need to have a discussion about the term colorless mana.
Oh, it could waste mana?
Well, it's generic mana.
Oh, okay, that's
right?
true. Yeah.
Because now you actually need colorless mana to cast certain spells.
That's true.
The nomenclature that's used for Magic is going to change with this next set.
That's true. The game is always changing, always evolving. Simian Spirit got the selection.
I always said, colorless, 3 colorless and a blue, but it's almost always colored mana that I'm using.
Yep.
It's just 3 generic mana and a blue or green or whatever.
Here comes Faithless Looting yet again. 2 cards coming. 2 cards, of course, will have to be discarded here from Cummings. So this is the thing that this is what we see with this deck, I think, more than what we saw in Game 1, which is when it doesn't have Goro's Vengeance or it gets messed with via discard or counterspells or something, its manipulation isn't great. It's got Night's Whisper, it's got Tormenting Voice, it's got Faithless Looting.
It's a bumpy road. Yep.
Yeah. So Nick has got to try to work his way through this, and hopefully he just draws Goro's Vengeance and he can kind of do his thing, because Boseiju will not allow it to be countered. In the meantime, if you're Andrew Jessup, you're trying to get this game over with as fast as possible. He's going to start, it looks like, with the Serum Visions, though he might be attacking first. His hand right now, Lightning Bolt, Serum Vision, Snapcaster Mage, and that Dispel. That Dispel not very good anymore, though. Here's Snapcaster Mage again. We know there's an Inquisition of Kozilek down there. And he'll cast that. Take a look. Don't have a great look at it, but it looks like it's just a miss. Some Borborgmoses and some lands there, yep. Yeah, Nourishing Shoal, too. Actually, no Nourishing Shoal.
I think that was the worm.
Yeah, the worm. Here's an attack for 2. Well, this is the worst feeling in the world. If your opponent draws Goro's Vengeance, well, I think he just drew Goro's Vengeance. It's going to take 2.
And this is the way it goes some events, you hit him with 4 discard spells in a row, and then they just peel the Vengeance off the top of their deck.
So here's something that's interesting, right? He went from 16 to 14. Now he gets to attack and go to 21, but this is only 2 activations from Gristlebrand, not 3.
Yep.
And that could actually make all the difference in the world here.
Yep.
Because if he was at 16, he'd go up to 23, and that would be 3 activations. So there is the potential for Cummings to fail here. I don't think that it's likely.
So you're saying don't use the Boseiju until you have to use the Boseiju.
Yeah, like in that situation, Jessup's tapped out.
Yeah.
You're not playing around Dispel. He doesn't know the opponent. He doesn't know the cards in Andrew's hand, but there's not a free. But your opponent's not playing. The chances of your opponent playing Disrupting Shoal are very low.
Yes.
And Pact of Negation is not something you can pay for, so you don't have to play around a free counter spell. So him taking 2 here could significantly limit what he's able to do, because now he's going to go down to 7, and he does not get another activation off Gristlebrand.
And 7 more cards is a lot of cards.
That's a healthy amount of cards. That's how many you start with for a game. That's a lot of cards. Again, I think the chances of him missing here are low, but the fail rate on this deck sometimes, it comes up more than you would think. And I don't know if he has a Nourishing Shoal. Like, we know he has Borborgmos. We know he has Worldspine Worm. I don't know if he has Nourishing Shoal in his hand.
Well, it's he doesn't even need it. If he can get that Borborygmos into play with the cards that he drew,
Then he wins.
that should be enough right
Yes. There's a World Spine Worm, and he's bringing the relevant cards. Okay, there's Nourishing Shoal right there. So that'll be 11 more life. And now he's probably fine.
there. Yep. 2 more activations of the Gristlebrand will definitely close out this game.
Yeah, I think it's almost impossible for this. Now he's going to fall down to 11 with this activation. So 7 cards coming here for Nick Cummings. Another Nourishing Shoal here would be even more life, which would yield more cards. Looks like he's going to go again. He's fallen down to 4.
So Gristlebrand is an interesting card.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I mean, you get to see, generally used in very fair strategies.
Typically hardcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, they just try to attack a few times with it to win the game.
And that's generally all that it does.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I could see why Wizards would want a card like this as part of a lot of formats.
I do kind of wonder, if they do axe something from this deck, if you're supposed to axe Gristlebrand or if you're supposed to axe Goryo's Vengeance.
I think moving forward, Gristlebrand is potentially a bigger problem in other unfair strategies. I don't know what they are yet, but a card like that is just so powerful that it limits design space. You can't have creatures come into play for cheap or for free if a card like Gristlebrand exists.
It's a risky one. Here's a Simian Spirit Guide. We're going to see a Goryo's Vengeance on that Borborygmos in just a moment here. Going to get that back, and that is going to do it. Nick Cummings going to win this match over Andrew Jessup, 2-0. Goryo's Vengeance going to take care of Grixis Control, and for Nick Cummings, he moves on to 5-1. Andrew Jessup, the brother of Danny Jessup, of course, is going to slide down to 4-2. Not a particularly close set of games.
Well, kind of a rough loss there for Andrew Jessup, just because he hit him with all of the discard spells, and he had the Dispel in his hand. It seemed like he had all the pieces that he wanted to